Live service games are basically FOMO monetized. I think they should be illegal. I think that games where it's like, oh, every week tune in to get your like weekly roll on the thingy, I think that these should be made illegal. I mean it, like it should be criminal to make them. Any system where you are basically like put on a schedule for playing it, you might have to work around this a little bit, because obviously I don't think Stardew Valley should be illegal. You know, I don't think it should be like, oh, you missed your crop like harvesting date, you're cooked. You know, I don't think that should like get people arrested. Maybe, but there's definitely a version of this that's serviceable. Making updates illegal, God willing, one day. They should be illegal, but not mine. I don't like Stardew Valley. I just mean I think there's a very predatory version of this in live service games. Stardew Valley isn't live service. It's just a game that has timers. A live service game is like it's very, very different. The constant like drip feed of new content that's constructed so that you can only access tiny bits of it at a time, because they can only make so much, but you've got to keep hooked every week, you know? Stardew doesn't run while it's closed. Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, then Animal Crossing. Whatever. You get the point. Regulations about it or something. What about limited time events like not? I don't know. We're not discussing the specifics of the model. I just think that it's shit and it's bad. You know, that's it. I think it's doo-doo from a butt. All right. I think it's bad for the human psyche. I think it's bad for games in general. I don't think it facilitates. I don't think it begets good game. It's doo-doo garbage. I don't like it when games use FOMO. Yeah. But Vaush, isn't this kind of similar to your talk about South Korean social media being toxic? You said banning those wouldn't help. Nope, those are two completely different things, because the underlying problem there was the socialization of men. And in this case, it is literally the game design that I'm talking about. It's not a cultural issue for Destiny 2 to be designed the way that it is. It's just the way it's designed. Destiny 2 removed so much FOMO from the game, players are mad they don't have things to chase. Yeah, and I think those people have a spiritual sickness. I genuinely do, you know? I think that like the fact that people rely on game design like that, they're relying on like structure in their lives that they need to impose themselves, you know? They want to have little chores and tasks. You have them. There are dishes piled up in your sink. When was the last time you washed your bed sheets? You know? I don't like this way of like engaging with we would never expect or accept any of this in another form of media, right? Like, you know, like a movie where you're required to pause and then continue watching the movie later. I guess TV shows have staggered release, but I think there's a meaningful difference between like sitting down for an episode of TV and then the next week there's another episode, and like a million. I guess the main issue to me is that so many of the live service games are designed to be manipulative with your time in a million shitty little ways. That to me, it's not like the big thing. It's not, oh, this week a new thing happens. It's that you log on and then here's your daily log on bonus. You now have like, here are your weeklies. Here are the little crafting materials that you only get a daily allotment of that you can now do. These mobs only respawn at this time and you can only do this within this time. And if you miss the time slot, you have to wait until tomorrow. And that means you're behind the gear. Like this and this and that. It's like 50 million little things that are all designed to interlock and make you feel stressed about missing out on stuff. Whereas if you miss out on an episode of TV, motherfucker, it's all streamed now. You can just watch it like tomorrow. It's not the same. It doesn't demand your time in the same way. Yeah, I agree. It exploits addiction, and it imposes a kind of false structure that feels satisfying to adhere to, but in reality it's very manipulative. Also, live service games eventually die, which hurts the preservation of art like movies and games. Yeah, does that ever, like, make you feel a little bit sad? I know we have WoW Classic now, but for live service games that go on for a while, a version of the game that used to exist literally no longer does and never can. You know? It will never exist again. If you have a regular game where it just releases and then that's the game, it's like, okay, that's the game. I can always go back and play that. But imagine all the classic games that you get to play today. Like, I don't know, Fallout New Vegas. I guess that's not really classic, right? That doesn't go back that far. But like Super Mario 64 or, you know, Super Mario World or like however far back you want to go. Fallout 1, Neverwinter, whatever you want to do, right? Imagine if that version of the game just didn't exist anymore. Like your childhood, the experience that you had when you were young, literally can't be accessed unless you have some. And not only can it not be accessed without modding, the modding might not work either, because if these games are live service, you can't just like create a version of it. You can't have like mod makers who just extract a version of it that was like what you played when you were young. You played an experience that was temporal. It only existed at that moment. This is why piracy is made. But piracy can't fix this. There is nothing that you can do to bring back like the way Final Fantasy XIV played back in 2017 or whatever. You cannot do it. You can play the content that was made at that time. You can like build out a version of the game that only has the content that was made up to that point in time, but you can't reconstruct the live service model, right? Couldn't you run a private server? Not necessarily. There are serious limits to that. Do you mean the balancing? Like, for you absolutely can with private servers. I know more than you, and I don't care to argue it with you, okay? I was playing World of Warcraft back when we were fucking running Molten Core, okay? I don't need to hear it from you. I know exactly how this shit works. I know more than you! Me walking by you in, like, the Home Depot, and you're asking me if I need, like, new drill bits or whatever. I've got plans! Anyway, it does, that's, the balancing changes actually do meaningfully impact the game. I really, really loved how Resto Shaman played in Legion back in World of Warcraft. That version of playing the Shaman doesn't exist anymore. You can still play Resto Shaman, but every new expansion, they change the way the spells work, and you rearranges everything, you know? That version of the game cannot be played anymore, you know? Oh, but you can go in a private server and do it. Yeah? You gonna get fucking 50,000 other people to join you in your private server to mimic the experience of playing raids at Endgame Legion as the Resto Shaman from Endgame Legion? You're just gonna bring the whole world with you because it's a live service game that requires always online connection, meaning you might be able to build an instance version of it that conforms to your will, but you can't bring the rest of the world with you? Think! Impermanence is a part of art. I kind of reject that. I think one of the nicest parts of the modern world is the fact that we can, like, that's an argument for never recording anything. Why have songs on a device, you know? You can just have music from a band that you listen to once, right? That's part of the art of it, you know? I don't know. It's just a little bit sad. It's a bad model of game. I just don't like it. Impermanence can be like part of an experience, but we're talking about a piece of media here, you know? Just because you don't like something doesn't mean it should be illegal. Disagree, actually. If I dislike something, it should be illegal. Thank you. Thank you. Waiter, more morally reductive arguments, please. Super, super manipulative live service model elements in games, I think, should be regulated. Because that shit... Yeah. But not all live service games have that element, right? Like, Counter-Strike is a live service game to an extent, in the sense that you have the updates and the so on and so forth, but it's kind of a hands-off one, right? I mean, you're basically just playing an online multiplayer game. It's sort of like a sliding scale from you're basically just handling a online multiplayer game to you're having like daily chests that you open, you know?